Evening, everybody. It is 5:55 on Tuesday afternoon, the 12th of December, and this is your closing comment. It is video number 2007. So today was a day chock full of numbers. I mentioned them this morning. We had the CPI, which came in a little bit hotter, up 1/10 versus zero, and the X food and energy up 3/10 versus up 2/10, and a 3.1% year over year. The first two numbers are monthlies. Year over year was 3.1. Core CPI year over year up 4% versus up 4%. We also had some other information that was around, and a lot of people don't follow it, but I do. NFIB, small business optimism, down 90.6 versus 90.7. Doesn't seem like much, but it's just another one on the downside. And then later in the day, we actually had the Treasury's budget, which came in at a staggering negative 314 billion. I know that we get used to these big numbers, and that 314 billion deficit might not seem much until you look at what it was last month, and that was 66.7 billion negative. So the Treasury's budget increased, the deficit increased 500%. So I'm thinking that's not great news, but, I feel kind of stupid. I mean, after all, everything seems to be good news. CPI goes up, market goes up. Earnings aren't great, market goes up. Futures move in one direction or the other. The dollar goes down, dollar goes up, market's up. So, what can I say? The market's up. But it wasn't up in a couple of names, and Orcl is the one that stands out the most. Yesterday, when they missed on revenues, the stock went from 116 down to 103, closed 106 and a half, down 7. This morning, it was down about that and continued to get worse, and in fact got worse right up until this very moment. It just made a new low on the day in extended hours of 100.64, with a last of 100.75, down 14.35 or 12.46%. Not a great showing. Um, Google lost their fight with Epic on their uh, game store, and didn't really make much of a difference. Google was down 81 cents. Ford, who told you how great the demand was for the new F-150 Lightning, cut production in half because there isn't any demand for it. The stock was up 9 cents. Of course, it's an $11 stock, down from 23, so that hardly matters. One bright spot, though, was Boeing. Boeing closed today up just a little at 248.52, but um, it is the biggest manufacturing company in the U.S. and is also a major player in besides commercial aircraft in defense contracting. The stock is up from 176 the last day of October to that 248. That's a 40% move, which is really pretty nice, even in this market. And the ITA, which is the defense company ETF, is up the same period 20%. So that's a little more broad based. But moving in the same direction. As far as the futures go, we bought a little wheat today. The grains were mixed, soybeans down, corn up a little, but the wheat was up 16. So I'm liking that. The oil was down $2.71, and nat gas also down 12 cents. Gold was basically unchanged before the CPI number. It was trading $20 higher at 2012 and a half. The high closed at 1993, which was pretty close to the low, and down 50 cents on the day. Um, Copper was basically unchanged to up less than 1 penny, and the silver was down just 4 cents. Coffee was a little higher. Sugar, which has gotten crushed lately, uh, up 12 cents. And the dollar was actually down 22 cents. Bitcoin, after being substantially higher, when I say that, I mean it was up around 12 or 1300, finished up 420. And Ethereum actually closed down 16, and the bonds closed down, pardon me, up a half a point. Um, the headline reads that rates were down, but there was actually a fairly poor 30-year bond auction today. And before the CPI, um, the 10-year was trading down around a yield of about 418. When the number came out, it first went down to 417, 416 and a half, and then turned right back up and traded as high as 422. So while it closed at 420 and was down on the day, from the news that came, it was actually higher. So there you have it. As far as the news for tomorrow, which is also substantial, we have mortgage apps early, 7 o'clock. 8:30, we have November PPI and core PPI. Then at 1 o'clock, we have the Fed's decision and their statement, and then a half hour later at 2:30 we have the press conference. And I actually expect some fairly hawkish tone to all of this. I think it's ludicrous to think that we're going to have 5 rate cuts, which is what a bunch of the Wall Street pundits are talking about, and the first one being in March. I think there is no chance of either of those two things. But that's just me. And, like I said, hey, this is a bull market. People are now talking about, is this the new major bull market? So, you know, who am I to second guess? All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning with those very important numbers for you.